Welcome to errors, lambda, and loop exercise. So for task 1, convert functions into lambda expressions. What I want you to do is work with these three functions here, which are mul, salad, and inside. And just convert them into their equivalent lambda functions. And then you have the desired output here. So for mul, the first function, I want 125. And then for the second function, you can either have not in bool or apple. These are string outputs. And for the third and final function, either 16 or outside, a string outside. And the hints are, number 1, for 2 of the lambda expressions, use control flow. Number 2, for the first lambda expression, set 3 default values. And number 3, use the in statements. So moving on to the second task, handling errors with lambda and while loop. So what I want you to do is work with this while true loop, and you have these clauses here, so try and accept and lastly finally clauses, and I want you to do is put in the correct control flow. And you're going to have the desired outputs if you put in these values. So if you put in 1, 10, and then this floats 12.12345, then you should get this output of lambda is 36 and the input value is 12. So it's going to convert the floats into an integer. Okay, and the hints for this task 2 are, number 1, use a break and continue statements, which actually I've added in the continue, but I've not put in the break, so that's for you to decide where to put that. And then number 2, use conditional operator where g_val is greater than 20. So what we have here is g_val greater than 20, so that's already done for you. And lastly, number 3, put the completed code in a function called error and run it. So this is quite similar to what we did before in the errors lecture. So essentially you have to just put all of this code, once you've completed it, into a function called error and then run this code. Okay, so moving on from task 2 to task 3, and that is use for loops with lambda. So what I want you to do is work with this lambda. This might be a little bit unusual to you if you've not seen this before. This is not something that we've actually touched upon exactly, but we have done some control flow within lambda. So what we have here is we have the parameter x and we multiply it by raising it to the power of 2 if x is greater than 5 in range 10, else 0. And that depends, of course, on the value you put in g. So if it is not greater than 5, then you will get 0. So as you can see here, for instance, if we put in 3, the g is going to be 0 all the way to 9. With this one, it's going to be 9, which is going to be, of course, multiplied by itself, which is going to be 81 all the way to 90. And the hints are, 1, use a for loop with a range of 0 to 10. Number 2, use print and add 100 to one of the output values, which you can see here. And number 3, use 2 plus signs. Okay, moving on from that is probably the easiest of the tasks, and that is for loop and list comprehension. So all I want you to do is work with these two variables. One is a tuple and the other one is a list. And you want to have the desired output of this list here, where Mustafa's favorite film is Akira, all the way down to George's favorite film is the 10 Commandments. And what I want you to do is have a for loop that generates this output, and then again the equivalent of the for loop in a list comprehension also generating this output. Okay, so this should be quite straightforward. Don't worry about the third task here. It can be a little bit tricky given that we haven't really touched upon this too much, but give it a try. So all you're doing is simply using a for loop with the lambda to generate these two different types of values, or these two different types of outputs rather. Okay, so give it a try. If you're not able to complete all the tasks, don't worry. I will be going over them in the next lecture for the solutions. Thank you.